going to talk about how to read and write from text files. There is more information in here than just that. There's information regarding a thing called a try-catch. It's basically a way to kind of make your programs a little more foolproof. I'm not going to really expect you to do this, and I'm not going to force or drive this point home, but just be aware that you can use a try-catch. Basically what it does is it catches any problem. So like if this works, then great. If it doesn't, then it will send this message. So if you have some kind of runtime error or something along those lines, it will try to catch that. Also, we're going to show how to read and write from files. Again, this is not anything that I'm really going to expect you to do, but it is pretty cool and also very useful. So I'm just going to, in a moment here, pull up an example I can show you about how that works, just to give you a sense of what that is. So there's more information here about how to read and write from the file. There's several ways to do this with Java. I'm going to be using, one of the things I'm going to be using is a print writer. So again, what they're showing you is how you can use this input-output library of Java to work with data sources, that kind of thing, which is really where, in the real world, that's what a lot of programmers would do. They'll also have to connect and use networking tools to connect, so there's some information in here. I assume that's why this is here, to talk to you about how to connect to get some kind of connectivity for your program, to get an IP address and communicate with the server, things along that nature. So, and then they talk a little bit more about loops in this section. So what I'm going to do is just show you real quick how this would work. You guys can't see week 6 yet because I haven't turned it on. Sorry about that. But I'm going to talk here about how to read and write from the text. So I'm just going to pull up 2 example files. So here's one file where we're going to read from a file, and then we're going to write to a file. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this code, select all this, and I'm going to create a new file in Java, and it's going to be called file write demo. So just to show you how this works, let me pull up. Here's where all my JGrasp files are stored. So everything in here is either a .class file or a .java file. Just to kind of show you that. So what does this file do? So it uses scanner, and it uses this thing called I/O, short for input-output. The name of the file is file write demo. So it's going to create a string called file name, one called friend name, and then a number of friends. Notice I'm using a scanner called keyboard, and I'm going to ask the user how many friends they have. The user's going to tell us the number of friends they have. So this is just going to eat up that empty line after next integer, because what Java is expecting is that I enter just a number. So if you think about it, if you enter a number, what are you going to do right after that? You're going to hit the enter key. So this is kind of throw away that enter line keystroke. Then it's going to ask me to enter the name of the file, because really what it's going to ask me to do is enter the names of my friends, and it's going to store the names of my friends in the file. So this is the name of the file. I'm creating the name of the file. So if this file exists already, then I would of course want to, when the user runs this, the user would want to enter the name of the file. However, if the file does not exist, then this print writer is going to create memory space using that file name. If the file does already exist, it's still going to create a print writer object while the program is running. So what is it going to do? Inside this loop, it's going to run. How many times is this going to run? Whatever number of friends I said I have. So it's going to, if I said I had 3 friends, it's going to run 3 times. If I said I had 5 friends, it's going to run 5 times. So it's going to ask me for the name of the friend and the number of the friend. So like it's going to say enter the name of friend number 1 or number 2 or number 3. Then I'm going to enter my friend's name, and look what it does. It says, to this print writer object called output file, print the name of that friend. So it's going to write the name of the friend I entered to the file that it just created memory space for. Then it's going to close out that print writer object. It's going to finish up, close it up. It's done with it. And it's going to say data written to the file. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. Save it. I'm going to call it file write demo. And down here, this is how many friends I have. I'm going to say I have 3 friends. First friend is Sally, and then Thomas, and Day1. Okay, well the name of my file is going to be called Sally. That was my mistake. Alright, so I'll have Timmy. So my name my file, sorry about this, name my file is going to be called Sally. And my 3 friends are Thomas, Day1, and Timmy. So I probably should have called the file name Friends or something, but I wasn't paying attention. So just be aware when I go look at this file, it's going to be called Sally, which is a little weird. But that's not really what I intended to do. So it says data written to the file. So I'm going to go look in JGrasp. There's this thing called Sally. What the heck is that? So what I'm going to do is, what I really meant to do was when I created the file, I meant to call it like friends.txt. So I'm just going to add a .txt at the end of this. And if I open this up, I can see that in the file is Thomas, Day1, and Timmy. That's exactly what I put in it. Okay, so just for good measure, I'm going to rename this thing what I meant to call it, which is friends.txt. Alright, so now that I have this file called friends.txt, not sally.txt, I can read from this file. So I'm going to go over here and look at this file called file read demo. I'm going to copy all this. I'm going to create a new Java file. I'm going to paste it in JGrasp. And what does this thing do? It uses a scanner, opens up an input-output stream. It's called file read demo. Notice it's a little bit different with void main. It has this thing called throws IO exception. That's kind of like a try catch. It's kind of what that's like. So it's basically saying if you can't open this up, then you want to throw an error message. So it creates a scanner for keyboard. It says enter the file name. I enter the file name. Then it opens up this thing called a file. So now we have an object of file type called file with lowercase s. But look here, we have 2 scanners. That's a little bit different. This scanner reads from the system input stream, where this scanner is going to read from a file. What's the name of the file? Whatever the user tells me, right here. So I'm going to give the name of the file, I'm going to call it friends.txt. So it's going to set up a scanner that reads from this file. So I'm going to read from this file right here is what I'm going to read from. Now this while says while the name of this file, while this scanner is set up to this file, while it has next. This is a utility or a function, if you will, method of this scanner input file. It's basically saying while there is another row of entry. In other words, while in my friends file, let me open this up again. While my friends file has another record. So it's going to read, this is a record, this is next, and when it gets done, say, okay, well, I'm done. While there is another entry, do this. Read in the next line for the friend, and then display that friend's name. And it's going to continue to do that until it says, hey, we don't have another entry. And then we're done this loop, and we're going to close up the input file. So this should write back to the screen. It should display the name of each friend on its own line. So when I go to run this, go ahead and save it. It's called file read demo. First thing it asks me is, yeah, that's fine. The name of the file is friends.txt. That's the name of the file. And then it says Tommy, Day1, and Timmy. Thomas, Day1, and Timmy. I have Thomas and Timmy. So we're done. So that's how a write to a file, as well as read from a file works. So you probably won't have to use any of this in a project. Maybe, maybe not, but nothing in this week anyway. But you can use this if you like, and it's kind of a neat thing, and it definitely is a little more sense of real-world programming, because often that's what we're doing, is we're saving our data somewhere, whether it's in a simple file or it's connecting to a database. This is kind of the sense of where programming can go. It's one of the utilities that we can use programming